This is Joe Askins with YoChicago.com and NewHomeNotebook.com. Sitting in our conference room today with Justin Massa, who's come back for a repeat visit.
Yes.
After about a year and a half, we were trying to figure out, since you first came here. You were here in early 2008 to talk about MoveSmart.org, and you've continued to work on it since then.
Yes.
And so we're just going to kind of get an update from you on that.
Yeah.
Find out how things are going, and then we'll actually be able to show our viewers, hopefully, a little bit of the site by turning our camera around to our big screen back here. So why don't we just start off, and for people who maybe didn't see the old video that we shot with you, give us just a brief overview of MoveSmart, its mission, and what people can find when they go there.
Sure. So MoveSmart.org was founded by myself and two other fair housing and affordable housing advocates in the fall of 2007. We thought that there was a gap in data for how people search on neighborhoods. So there was lots of information about the current or future dollar value of a home, but there's relatively little information about the opportunities that neighborhoods might provide. So we're thinking about how can we started off with a conversation actually about how can we help housing counselors do their jobs better. We had a survey of housing counselors done, and we found that most of them sit in front of a computer but don't use it when they talk to their clients. And then we kind of realized, well, if we're going to do this for housing counselors, why not just do this for everybody? So we spent most of 2008 kind of figuring out how we would pay for this, figuring out what technology we should use, finding data, and kind of building an organization. We got our 501c3 status last fall. And we spent the majority of this year actually building the site. So it's all built on Drupal, which is an open source content management system using Google Maps, and everything's free and open source. So in the spring of this year, I left my job working for the Chicago Lawyers Committee to focus on MoveSmart, and we went live this past Monday with the alpha version of the Neighborhood Finder, which is kind of the core feature of the site. Earlier this summer, we launched the guide section, which is kind of plain language explanations on a wide variety of housing topics. We've got about 79 articles now in the guide section, including a few YoChicago videos, actually.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. So when I go there, what types of information am I going to be able to find there? Who's sort of the audience that you've directed this to, and where are they going to be able to find when they go there?
So we say that MoveSmart.org is for everyone who doesn't make such little money that they have no choice in where they live, but doesn't make so much money that they can live wherever they want to live. Everyone has to make trade-offs when they pick a neighborhood to live in, and it's hard to make those decisions when you don't have information about every neighborhood in the region. So what MoveSmart does is cover a 7-county region in northeastern Illinois. We're not in northwest Indiana, although we hope to be one day. And we provide information on a wide variety of sources in what we call the Neighborhood Finder. So it lets folks create a profile, choose priorities about what they want in a neighborhood, and then we give them a list of results. And it's oriented by zip code. So right now, folks can search for neighborhoods near farmers markets, libraries, low-density neighborhoods, high-density neighborhoods, financial institutions, and one more that I'm forgetting because we have 6 that are live right now. We've got about 14 data sets from 12 different sources that are on our list to import. If you go to the MoveSmart.org's homepage, click on About, there's a list of all the data sets that we'll have live, probably by the first week of December.
All right. It almost sounds like it's sort of a reverse of what you'd find on sites, everything from like Every Block to Walk Score and things like that, and that on those, you're punching in, say, an address, and then it's showing you things around it, and then it sounds like from what you're telling me here, I'm asking for a certain set of criteria, and it's narrowing down locations.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right. So we kind of work in the opposite direction, which is challenging in lots of ways because we're building massive data tables every time someone does a search. And we're covering a lot of jurisdictions, so 270 some odd municipalities in the region that we cover. And so accessing data from that wide variety of places is one of the biggest challenges for us. We don't create data. We help people search it and visualize it in kind of a different way. But accessing data is always a challenge. Yeah.
All right. And how does this all fit into the idea of fair housing? And
Sure.
What is the connection there?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of research that, actually a fair bit of research that one of the MoveSmart board members has done. Professor Maria Creason at the University of Illinois of Chicago did something called the Chicago Area Study, looking at why is the Chicago region segregated. 40 years after the Civil Rights Movement, the passage of the Fair Housing Act, the level of residential segregation in metropolitan Chicago has been virtually unchanged. And what she found, and I think it's no surprise to anyone, is that there's three factors. There's individual behavior, there's economics, and there's discrimination. There's lots of folks that work on discrimination issues. That used to be my full-time job. There are people building affordable housing and creating homeownership programs addressing the economics issue. But very few address individual behavior. And you'll notice we say individual behavior and not individual choice, because people really aren't making informed decisions right now when they look for a neighborhood. So Professor Creason's research surfaced this idea that people have racial blind spots when it comes to neighborhoods. So we know a lot about and have probably looked for housing in a neighborhood where we would be in the majority, but we've seldom looked for housing and frequently know very little about, even if it would be a great fit for us, neighborhoods where we'd be in the minority. So what MoveSmart does is it asks you for priorities about your neighborhood, and we ask you to self-report your race or ethnicity. And we use that information to figure out neighborhoods that meet your priorities, but also that you probably would not have heard of before. So neighborhoods where you'd add to the diversity of the community.
Right. All right. Okay. So somebody like me who's a 20-something white male who moved here from Arkansas and is living in Wicker Park.
Yes.
You're going to be telling me, hey, there are places on the south side and west side, southwest side that actually fit some of my criteria.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly
Gotcha.
right. Lots of people move to neighborhoods maybe because they think it's supposed to be great, or kind of rumor or word of mouth, or a friend lives there. But what we've found, and what I think research is increasingly showing, is that when someone's going to be successful in a neighborhood, it has to have that right mix of opportunities that work for them. So, if you have a car and bank next to where you work, you don't need public transit necessarily or financial institutions nearby. If you take the train and don't have a bank, those two things become really important. And so the trick is giving people the ability to find that right combination of opportunities that's going to help them be successful.
Okay.